Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 24th day of October 2025. Of course, my name is Alexis Jeffers and I'm here every Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And of course, there are times when I'm not here, even though I just said that I'm here every Friday. The intention is to be here every Friday, but last Friday I was out, and of course until I find someone to fill the breach or the void when I'm gone, well, we'll just have to operate as is for now. But it is always my pleasure coming here on a Friday afternoon to spend my lunch hour with you. And you know, I am getting the feeling that persons are now warming up to this space and this show, because if I don't come I get some calls to ask if I'm okay or whether I'm off island or what. But yeah, persons apparently are looking forward to this particular period of time on a Friday afternoon. So I owe it to the listeners and of course viewers of this program and all of the other programs here on Von Radio that I be here. So I'm here today. So good afternoon once again, and let me shout up all of the folks who are here on the island of Nevis, in all 5 parishes, especially the parish of St. James, where I am proud to call my home for the last 56 years. And indeed, it is always good to traverse the constituency of St. James to say hello and to look up the folks who are there. And so I say so with some pride this afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you up there in St. James, and of course throughout the whole of Nevis. Further afield, let's go down to St. Kitts and say good afternoon to the folks who are listening down there on the island of St. Kitts, or Sister Island. And indeed, further afield, we go to Sabas, Statia, St. Bart's, French and Dutch St. Martin. You're looking at the folks there in British Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. And then we come back towards the east and south and say good afternoon to the folks up there in Antigua and down there. You know, it's always funny because, you know, when you look at the map, even though you see they're south of us, we say up. But anyway, Antigua is southeast of us, so they're south of us. Of course, Dominica, Martinique, Guadeloupe, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course further down south, Trinidad and Tobago, and of course the folks down there in Guyana. We have persons who are residing here among us from all of these islands, so it is incumbent upon myself and all of us to acknowledge and to ensure that we are spreading the vibes, so to speak, because those folks who are in those islands and those countries, I'm sure, listen to Von Radio just to get a feel and a sense as to what is happening here on the island of Nevis, and so we welcome them as well. Up north, we want to say hello to the folks there in South Florida, of course. I was there just recently, and of course all the way up the eastern seaboard, all the way up to those smaller states of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, and those states where we do have some nationals, and of course New York and New Jersey, all those states on the eastern seaboard. I know I would have passed over, I can't call all of the states once I'm here on a Friday, because that would take me some time, but I think I can look at a blank map of the United States and label it with all of the states. Yeah. That is something we learn once you're in the system in the United States, you know. Okay, so we go across to the Midwest, you know, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Missouri, Texas, and then we go all the way to the extreme west of the United States, California, Oregon, Washington State, and then of course the whole of Canada, including all of the different cities, Toronto, Ontario, Quebec, you know, Calgary, wherever our nationals are in Canada. I'm saying good morning and good afternoon to you as well too. And then we go up to Europe, the UK, France, Germany, Denmark, and those countries that I know we do have our nationals there in Germany, for example, and then of course into Asia, Japan, and my favorite of all, the Republic of China, Taiwan, where we have quite a number of students there and nationals who are there working. I say good morning to you there in the Republic of China, Taiwan. So I've pretty much traversed the entire globe from right here in the seat that I'm seated in. And so let's come back home and say, well, we go into the program as we normally do and express sympathies to all of the families out there that are bereaved at this time, are grieving at the loss of a loved one at this time. And we want to express how saddened we are if you're indeed in that situation, and we pray that God will provide you with the strength and comfort to deal with this loss. And so from all of us here at Von Radio, including myself, we express our deepest and profound sympathies. Indeed, persons are there at the Alexandra Hospital. I want to say good afternoon to you and all of you who are there, including the nurses, doctors, and everyone who care for the patients who go there, and also the Flamboyant home as well. I say good afternoon to everyone who are listening up there, and I pray that you will have a full and speedy recovery and be back out and about to make your contributions towards the development of the island of Nevis, by extension the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis as well. You know, we go through circumstances, throughout the years, and we just have to find a way to cope and find a way to deal with these challenges so that we can continue to fight that good fight of staying alive and being as best as we can. Okay, so out of that and into more, joyous things, I will say happy birthday to all those who are celebrating at this time. Quite a number of persons, I'm sure, out there are celebrating, but I want to just single out my good friend over there in Butlers, Mrs. Cordelia Brown, who is celebrating today. I think I picked that up earlier. And of course down in Brickhill, Verlin, Glasgow, Wiltshire, I think I heard that on Von Radio this morning, that she is celebrating. And of course, this is my namesake, Alexis Atherton. That is the husband of Alison Dorr Atherton. He's celebrating today. Well, at least there's a second person on Nevis by the name of Alexis. There was one other person before who is no longer here, a guy by the name of Alexis Hobson. We used to call him Jibo. I haven't seen him for quite a number of years, but we had some we used to give each other a bit of friendly banter, I should say, in terms of him saying he was born before me, so at least he was the original and that kind of thing. But well, there's another Alexis here on the island of Alexis Atherton. Happy birthday to you, sir. Have yourself a wonderful day. And of course, earlier in the week, my good friend from way back in 1987 celebrated his birthday down there in Anguilla. My good friend Joey Gums. I've known him since then through the AYPA, which is the Anglican Young People's Association, and we stay in touch. And at least I called him last night, and I told him I'm so sorry I missed his birthday, but better late than never. And I'm mentioning this here publicly because, of course, he's my good friend and someone who I have stayed in touch with over the years. So Joey, all the best. I wish you many, many, many more years of celebration as you continue along life's journey. Tomorrow is my my father's wife. What that make her now? My mother-in-law, my stepmother, sorry. Whatever it is. Marilyn, you're gonna laugh, but I think I picked up that Marilyn is celebrating. That's Marilyn Quealy. Those of you who are not familiar with Marilyn Quealy, well, if you're familiar with Santa Brooks from up there at Zetland's area, he's now deceased. That was her father, yeah? So you can make the connection now. She's my dad's wife. She's celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday in advance, Marilyn. And may God continue to bless you always. And of course, tomorrow as well is Felencia Jones Smithen. Those of you who know Felencia Jones, Mom is Mercia Jones. She's celebrating tomorrow as well. And then, of course, on Sunday, Bernadette Wallace, Mems. I see the gate close up there, so I figure she's away celebrating. And I always say, when your birthday comes, go and celebrate. And if you have closed down to go and celebrate, Mems, well, you can afford to. And it will be well worth it, because it is a significant milestone. Every time you celebrate anyway, it is a significant milestone, and so you can celebrate as if there's no other. But we wish you many more, and all of the folks who are celebrating, we wish you many more years of happiness as well. So there are quite a number of persons who are celebrating this upcoming week. I say happy birthday to you in advance. And when I come back next week, God's willing, well, I'll touch on some of those as well. So let's move on from there. The weather situation, I came in here, and of course the sun is hot outside, and we had some rain showers earlier in the week, and that has led to the grass being much greener than it was last week or the week before, and everything is looking lush. And indeed, the landscapers will have some work to do over the next couple of weeks, and indeed our farmers, of course, will be appreciative of the fact that some rain did come and their crops would have gotten some water. And of course, that water from heaven, or the rain from heaven, is always a blessing, because the plants tend to thrive under such condition. And so we are happy for that, and we thank the Almighty for his blessings and tender mercies towards us, because of course we are just about another month before the closure of the hurricane season. It ends on the 30th of November. Well, a little over a month, but I say just about a month. And indeed, we have been spared thus far, and we continue to pray that we'll continue to have tranquil weather from now until the end of this season. But there is still something out there in the Caribbean Sea. I believe it is called Melissa, which is somewhere south of Jamaica, and I'm not so sure what the path will be like over the next couple of days, but we are praying and hoping that those countries will be spared any difficulties and spared any wrath of Melissa as it is. So it is always a difficult thing to recover from some of these damages that can be caused by hurricanes. So I am praying and hoping that those countries will not have to deal with such unfortunate circumstances. But we continue to pray. We continue to pray and hope that all goes well. Okay, so we'll move on from there. And of course, I'll just want to just make some advertisement of a few things here quickly. Over the last couple of weeks, I have been promoting this particular event over there in Brickhill, at the Brickhill basketball court up there in Whitehall. And it is an event that is in its 5th year. I want to pull it up here. Yes, and that is the Links Promotion 5th Annual Pork and Beer Festival. This will be held on November 29th, Saturday, November 29th. And of course, like I said, it's the 5th hosting of this event. And the entertainment, as I would have said before, and I'll say again, Odyssey Band will be there, Collision Band, DJ Dangles, Dynamic Sound, Braveheart Sound, Selector Bobby and Toby, DJ Wet Dot, Tough House Sound, Rokodan, Speedy, Pakis, Empress, Rittic, and more to be added. So they're saying lots of food and drinks will be there, and fun for the entire family. And I want to put out the appeal to Alexis Jeffers over there in Brickhill and your team. You and your team may have to come on and give this a plug yourself, because we may want to ask you some questions regarding the event. And of course, perhaps all of the answers that you will provide will certainly lend to the expectations of the patrons who are going to come, and perhaps you'll get many more persons to come as a result. People would want to know who the promoters are. In some of these events we hear about a promotion group, but we don't know who are behind the promotion itself. And it is always good to see a face and put a name and a face together. So Jariv, get yourself ready. I believe we can do that either next week or the week after. So next Friday, I believe, is the 31st. We can do it the following week after that, and that will be a bit closer to the event, so that we can sensitize the public and let them know exactly what is happening or will be happening over there come the 29th of November, Saturday the 29th of November. Okay, so let's move on from there. I did say at the top of the show that I was out of here last Friday, so I took a trip up to Palm Bay, where this major event that has certainly found its way on the calendar of activities that we would put together throughout the year. All of us have a calendar, and of course other persons do as well. So this is a major event for most of us, most of the patrons of this particular event. This is the Dr. Packer Barbecue Competition. It has been going for the last 9 years, and of course next year will make 10 years. So the 10th anniversary will be celebrated next year. And so this year, though, it was as expected. The turnout was a great one. As a matter of fact, persons will come from various parts of the United States, say New York, Atlanta, various parts of Florida, whether it's Tampa, South Florida, meaning down Miami area, and of course persons will fly into Palm Bay and be a part of this. And when I say persons, I'm talking about citizens who are in the diaspora, who are from Nevis and from St. Kitts, because it was a mixture of both Kidditians and Nevisians at this event. And it was certainly a good event to attend, and it is always a pleasure to meet up and greet our citizens abroad, and they are fond of us being there as well, and they're thrilled when we come, because of course we are one. Whether we are miles apart, we are all one. We are one family, one set of persons from similar circumstances, grew up together and the likes. Yeah, so it was indeed a pleasure being there. And of course the winner of that event was Big Six. Of course, all of us know Big Six. He has his own business place up there on the main road in Gingerland, across from the Gingerland secondary school. And of course people continue to patronize his business, so he would have taken his skills from Nevis and went off to Palm Bay. This is not his first time. This is perhaps his third, fourth time, I'm not sure, but I believe he would have won this competition before, and he did so again this year. It was a rather emotional one for him, of course, because that Saturday, the last Saturday was what date now, the 18th, so he would have lost a daughter on the same day, so he was competing and also carrying that burden with him, and we certainly was able to provide some comfort and some support to him there. So Big Six, congratulations to you and your team. Of course there were other persons involved, let's say Terran Wallace, well, Blues, who said, I'm giving him his correct name, of course, yes, publicly, but he'll prefer to be called Blues. And then of course I recall Bubba Willett, who also was on the grill, and others as well. So I want to congratulate all of them who made this event a success, and also congratulate Dr. Packer for continuing with this particular event. Now, so I was there in the initial stages, you know, back 9 years ago, when it was just a front yard barbecue session where friends come together and just barbecue and have a good old time. So he has moved from the front. The front is occupied, yes, but he has created space in the back. So it is an event that has grown from the front yard to the backyard, the entire property. And now, Packer, you may have to take this event to a park at some point in the future, because the more people that comes is the more space that will be needed, and I'm certain it will continue to grow. So at that event as well, what warmed my heart is the fact that I was able to meet up with some of the folks from my constituency up there in St. James, persons like Greg Killer Wallace. Good afternoon to you, Greg, if you're listening. And also Marsha Claxton. Marsha is from Brickhill, of course. Sarah, Brower, and Herschel, Michelle, all of them. And of course those who know Joel Brown from down there in Camps area. Of course we know the Odyssey band was there playing on the Saturday evening, and they did a marvelous job in playing some good music, good old soca and calypso and the jam band style thing. I commend them for that. So that, I believe, was an event where you had a mixture of persons from all walk of life, and that was good to be there. Yeah, indeed. Those of you who know fellow Spider from over there at Prospect, originally from Churchgong, I believe, but he has property over there in Prospect. He came down from Atlanta with his family, and of course Cecil Shark Farrell. He he cooked the goat water on Saturday, and Shark is contending that he's the best goat water. He can cook the best goat water wherever, whether in St. Thomas, in Nevis, or wherever. Well, all these things are up for debate, but the goat water was bang on. And as I named this show On Point, the goat water was on point, and it hit the spot as well. Very good, Shark. And all those other persons like Avo. Oh, Vida was there, Vida Batista. or Vida Stapleton, who we know from Brick Hill. She was there as well. So I want to say good afternoon to all those who attended, all those who I was able to meet and greet, and it's always a pleasure meeting my people from the St. James area. And thank you, Packer, for making this thing a reality. And I wish you all the best and God's blessings moving into the future as well. So that's the end of that for this year. We look forward to next year. Okay? Okay. Yesterday morning, there was a major event held over there in St. James. It was put on by the Combomere Methodist Church, and it was a march and a rally to say no to crime and violence. Well, it was say no to crime and violence march and rally, and I want to commend the entire congregation, of the Combomere Methodist Church for putting on this event. It is a timely event and one that was indeed needed. Some may have asked, well, why a march against crime when it seems as though we're living in some quiet times around, around Nevis, meaning we haven't seen the type of criminal activities that we have seen in the past, say 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Things are quiet now. But in answer to that question, one has to just cast their mind back to July 29th, I believe it was, when there was a murder over there in the Combomere area, Libert Hill area, right in front of the Combomere Methodist Church. A young man lost his life there that night, where he was gunned down in that area. What was more, difficult to embrace was the fact that there were stray bullets that damaged vehicles and also damaged windows in the church as well. And there were persons in the church at that time having a church service or perhaps a prayer meeting or something of that sort. So persons were in the area, in church, and of course I will say that they were violated in a big way, because they went to this tranquil space, this holy place, and of course bullets were raining down outside, and that was something that would have certainly made everyone in that church uneasy. It made us as a community uneasy as well. And that wasn't the end of it, because on the 18th of September there was another incident up there at the Combomere preschool, where bullets went flying as well too. No one was killed in that incident, thank God for that. Of course there were injuries sustained, but these two events would have galvanized the community over there and galvanized the church to go out on the street and march and demonstrate that they're standing up against crime and criminality in our community. And so I was able to join with them yesterday, along with Minister Libert was there, Troy Libert that is, and of course the Police High Command here on Nevis was there, and of course we had various pastors and preachers here on the island in the Anglican Church, and a part of the Evangelical Association and Christian Council were there. Members of the community were there, members of the church. School children were there from the VOJN primary school and also the Combomere preschool. So we had a cross-section of the community represented there, and everyone was speaking the same language, so to speak, that we're fed up of all of this crime and criminality in our communities, and it must stop. And so I want to commend the Combomere Methodist Church for being bold about this, because I did make the point yesterday that if we fail to stand up and speak out against these ills in our community, we're just embracing what the criminals are doing and perhaps telling them they're correct and they're right, and emboldening making them more emboldened in what they're doing, which is so incorrect. So we are saying we're standing up, and once we're standing up, of course we are standing up with the victims of crime and criminality. We are standing up with those vulnerable persons among us, our school children, the elderly folks who will not want these events and these incidents to be things that they have to cope with, because of course our children, these impression will certainly not be good for them. It's the wrong impression to send and communicate to our children. And of course the older folks would have worked tirelessly to build this island and to ensure that they would have brought up their children in a way that will suggest to me and all of us that they would have done a good job in doing so. They must be disappointed when they see some of these actions. So we're saying to our young people, let us, make a U-turn. Whatever road you're on, and it is not the best road to be on, make that U-turn and a diversion and get on to the best road possible, and ensure that you're, being active and prominent members in our communities to build them. So St. James, we've had some good times over there. We've had some challenging times, but we'll continue to work at this. We'll press on to make sure that we continue to keep our community as safe as we possibly can. Okay, so let's move on from there, and let's move on to something else. Earlier this week, I would have put up a posting on Facebook regarding Shaw's Road. That road was constructed, I believe, somewhere at the end of 2016, 2017, thereabout. And indeed, it is a very smooth and long, straight road. What that means, it is inviting to some motorists who have seen speeding on that road. And when I say speeding on that road, I don't mean speeding at, reasonable speed. As we say locally, breakneck speed. 70 miles per hour, almost 100 miles per hour. We have seen vehicles going up that road and coming down that road like it's a racetrack. And I've looked at it over the last couple of years, and I've been beseeching. The speed limit on that road, as posted, is 20 miles per hour. I can recall when we would have erected those signs, but persons are not adhering to those signs at all. And of course we have our young children on the road playing. We have senior citizens, and we have persons who have embraced the Shaw's Road area, have moved into the area to rent properties and so forth. They walk along that road on a regular basis to exercise and the likes. So we thought about it, and indeed I got the assistance of the Public Works Department. So I want to thank Minister Brand, Director of Public Works Jevon Williams, and of course Danny Williams, who oversaw the process, and those guys who would have gone on the road itself to execute the project of putting down those speed bumps over there on Shaw's Road. It has been a welcome, it has been well received by the residents of that area. And of course I would have driven up that road a couple of times thus far since it was done. I believe it was on Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, and it is a welcome change. And indeed I want to say further that I will ensure that the speed bumps are painted and the proper signage is put up so that persons can be warned or forewarned that these speed bumps are ahead of you, so that you can drive accordingly. In the meantime, I am admonishing persons to drive carefully, take your time on Shaw's Road, and keep in mind that persons live there, and we want to protect life and limb in every possible way. But that I'm certain is welcome by everyone, even the motorists as well, because we're trying to save you from perhaps a tragic situation that we don't want to fathom at all. And we're hoping this would ensure that these situation never arise. Okay, so there you go. We saw the need for it, and we have come up with a solution. And so there are other things over in St. James that we must do and we will do, but I will say that I've heard the Premier Brantley, that is, who would have mentioned that the current local representative for St. James have never called to ask him for anything to be done in St. James. And well, I suppose that's how persons embrace the trust and so forth that would have been placed in their hands, so to speak, to manage the affairs of a constituency. If they see that they say nothing, once Well, if they see things to be done and do nothing, well, if that's their way of representing, well, so be it. But as far as I am concerned, as the former representative of St. James, I've always been looking for things to get done in St. James and provide solutions to challenging situations or difficult situations, and provide opportunities for people as well. So the current representative would have driven on that road for many years, because I think she lives somewhere in the area over there, and that would have been something for her to advocate for, instead of, as she's doing these days, criticize every single thing that has happened in St. James or that is about to happen. She criticized the police station every time she get a chance. Every single time she get behind a microphone, she criticized the police station about fire truck can't fit and all kind of foolishness. I have said to her before that if the police station brings back any memory of any sort, then she can go into the station and ask the police officer on duty there to give her a chance to sit inside of the cell for maybe an hour or two, just to get a feel as to what a cell feels like. And I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying when someone is obsessed with a police station, there must be something wrong. Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, it's one of the most beautiful police stations in this federation, of course, and in the region, because I've seen other police stations elsewhere, and that is really meant to provide comfort and security and all of the different amenities that must be provided by it to our people, and it's certainly playing the role that it should play. So she criticized the police station, she criticized the holy water taxi facility, where persons would know that that is one of the hottest spots on the island of Nevis, and over 1.3 million passengers have already passed through that facility. So the criticisms, I don't know why, but I suppose some people don't like to see good things. Criticize the Cedar View housing development, and of course why, I don't know, because it is one of the best housing developments here on the island of Nevis, and where it's located, right over there in Maddens, in the heart of St. James. Is it criticize Herbert Beach, the acquisition of those lands? Where are the lands? In St. James, and they're being used by the people of St. James and those who visit that area as well too. She criticized University Heights. He criticized even the sea blast that comes off of the ocean over there in the Maddens area and throughout St. James. Say people house and fridges and so forth are getting rusty and all kind of things. So the criticisms, I don't bother about that, because when people don't have anything better to say, I believe they resort to these kind of conversations. But I want to stay positive, and in staying positive, I'm going to go back to Cedar View in Maddens. Those of you who would have left home earlier this morning, by the time you get back to your home this afternoon in Cedar View, you will see some work being done there on the green area, the play field. I think that play field is about an acre. What we would have done is to built on the green area in the first phase. We built a house in that area, and we said let us create a space for both phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3, and make it larger so that all of the children and persons, they can utilize a much larger space. So it is between phase 1 and phase 2, that green area, and it's being cleaned as we speak. I would have seen the need for it. And also, let me go one step further and say that that development is one of the most popular housing developments here on the island of Nevis, because all of those taxi operators, they normally traverse that area to give our visitors to the island a sense as to what housing, affordable housing in Nevis is like. And so you would see these taxi operators drive into that area. And so I've said before that my thing is, we have to keep the surroundings clean over there, because there's a saying that you never get a second chance to create a first impression. So first impression counts. So that is why we have embarked on this cleaning process, to make sure we can clean up the area, not only for the upcoming tourist season, but also for the Christmas and festive season that is coming, because I believe that is the same area that they'll use to light their Christmas tree when the time comes later in the year, in December that is. So that is something that is ongoing, and we'll continue to look around St. James to make sure that we're taking care of the things that the representatives should be taking care of, That is the local representative, but of course she's not concerned about that. She's more concerned about perhaps land and money and everything else that comes along with her self-interest, I suppose, but certainly not the people of St. James, because you don't hear any advocacy, you don't see any action, you don't hear anything, and you don't see any move towards taking care of anything in St. James. So it is left to someone, and I gladly put up my hand and say I'll do what is necessary to ensure that that constituency is taken care of and well represented. Anyway, let's move on from there. It's now 20 minutes to well, 25 minutes to 2. Wow, time is flying. Yeah, okay. On Monday the 27th of October, I believe the time is 7 p.m. But if I have the time incorrect, I know for a fact that I have the date correct. Monday the 27th of October, down there at the St. Paul's Anglican Church Hall, there will be a town hall meeting put on by the cabinet of the Nevis Island administration. The Premier and his team will be going down to that hall to have a discussion with the Nevisian public regarding this sustainable zone, this special sustainable zone that has been creating a lot of conversation here on the island of Nevis. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that we live in a democracy, and with all of the tools available to us these days, there are many avenues, where you can put out what your opinion is, express your opinion, and there are varied opinions regarding this particular sustainability zone. Some are calling it SSZ. Perhaps we should just resort to SSZ to make it easy. So there are varied opinions out there, and of course all shades of opinions are welcome. What I would say, and I've said it before, is that we can be as respectable as we can and as respectful as we can to the persons who we interact with. I have heard persons out there calling people stupid, foolish, dumb, dunce, and all kind of language I've heard being used. And I will say that you're not hearing those coming from the Concerned Citizens Movement or any of the bloggers that I've seen who represent or who are supporters of the Concerned Citizens Movement. I want to be clear about that. And if there are any out there who are doing it, who support this party and support the Concerned Citizens Movement in what they're doing and what they're hoping to accomplish, and you're taking that road, I want to say to you to cease and desist, because there is no need for that. You don't get anywhere by cussing people and calling them all kind of derogatory things. We are mature people here on the island of Nevis, sensible people, and of course all of us are old enough to use our own brain. We have that capacity, and so if someone is not buying what you're saying, well, that's what it is. People have a choice as to what they'll embrace and what they'll reject. So if the majority of persons are embracing this particular development, you can't be angry with them. If you're not getting through with your message, it means that your message is probably, your message is off. It has some degree of what should I call it? Well, it's just not effective. Let's put it that way. But if persons are embracing this project, it means that the government and the Premier and his team are getting their message across. And that is what is going to happen down at the St. Paul's Church Hall on Monday evening, where the message will be brought to the general public. I will say that over the last couple of weeks, there are various entities as stakeholders who would have had these consultations or these discussions with the cabinet of the Nevis Island administration. I believe there was a meeting this morning with the High Command here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. The Commissioner of Police and his team was in discussions with the cabinet of the NIA this morning. Last week, Tuesday, I believe it was, there was a consultation down there at Four Seasons with the Evangelical Association and the Christian Council, and the previous week I believe it was with the the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and I believe there was a meeting as well too with both opposition members in the Nevis Island Assembly sometime during the course of that week when the consultation was held with the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. So the NIA is doing its best to get the message out, and persons have questions, and so I am encouraging persons. The whole of Nevis, I don't know how the whole of Nevis is going to hold in that hall. I'm wondering if it wouldn't have been better to perhaps go down into the NIPAC or somewhere, because I'm anticipating a large amount of persons would show up. And I want a large amount of people to show up. I don't know if everyone would get their voice heard or their questions raised and answered, but it is important to go and listen, because someone may very well raise the question that you yourself would want to ask, and then you'll get clarity. So if you want to hear about job creation, go down and ask the Premier and his team these questions. If you want to hear about infrastructural investment, I'm understanding over $50 million will be made available for infrastructural investment and development. Go and ask for clarity on those issues. Profit sharing, I'm hearing about 5% profit will be shared directly to divisions. Go and ask how that will work and how that will be calculated. Ask the questions. The questions have to be answered. I have questions too, and I've been asking questions, because this project, of course, is a new project to the island of Nevis. It is a bold project, and it is one that can transform the island of Nevis. We have been hearing about land issues. If you have any questions regarding lands and whether lands will be acquired, whether lands will be bought, taken away, I don't know, but any matters pertaining to land, go and ask your question. If you want to hear about green infrastructure, whether geothermal will be invested into by these folks who plan to do this development and assist us to get geothermal off the ground, so to speak, and have it come to fruition, go and ask your question. Nothing is wrong with that. That is why the consultation will be asked. If you have anything to ask about the environmental impact assessment and the impact on the environment over there, go and ask your questions. Do not sit in a rum shop and sip a beer, sip a Guinness, sip a glass of rum or whatever, and let somebody pull wool over your eyes. Go and ask questions, because there's nobody down there that you should be afraid of. And all of us are old enough, wise enough, and have the mental capacity to understand what is going on this island. We know who are the fake persons out there. We know what their agendas are. And if you know what it is and you want to follow them, well, follow them over a cliff if you want to. But if you want to hear what is going to come of this development, what is involved, go down and ask question. Ask any question, whether there will be some oversight from the government. As you're hearing, they're saying no, they're going to have their own government over there. I don't know who can be so foolish as a prime minister or premier to give up governance to someone when they're the ones in charge of this federation. I know they like to be in the seat that they're sitting in. Where are they going to give it up? So go down and ask the Premier these questions, yeah? And if you want to listen to my program again and write down these questions to ask, well, write them down. But do not come down there and expect to be boisterous and try to fight anybody down there. That is not Nevision like. If you want to know about citizenship and whether they'll be able to vote once these people come and buy their citizenship, whether they'll be able to come out of that zone and come and vote in a local election, ask those questions too. Ask if legislations will be amended to ensure that doesn't happen, or it happens. I don't know. Ask the questions. These are some difficult questions to ask, but they are pertinent questions to ask as well, because you need answers. Because everybody every day comes up with some different story about this SSZ. But you know what? A lot of the things that you're hearing started long ago, you know. Because when land started being sold over there, those folks in the NRP sold early, you know, they sold their land early o'clock. And they got monies. And when they don't get the money, they start to cry foul. They start to cry foul and started to spread all kind of things. Maybe they were trying to set a narrative to divert the attention away from them, because they have collected the millions and sold the 60 acres, 25 acres, 10 acres, 5 acres, 100 acres. They sell the acres, right? And they collect the money. Whether they collect all or most, and let me say this, let us be clear, because when we speak on these shows, we must provide clarity. Let's see how the process works. One, someone approach you for your land, you negotiate. Then you enter into a purchase and sales agreement that is binding. So it therefore means that if you settle for a price and you say, well, the purchase and sales agreement suggests that you get a 10% down payment on your land, once you have provided the title and so forth to show that you are the rightful owner, then they lay out the payment schedule, meaning 10% or maybe a 30% after 40% until you're down to 100% paid. So you may not get all of your money one time, but at least once you collect that money, that binds you into a contract. So whoever said they ain't collect no money yet or they ain't collect all their money yet, it is nothing new. Because I have been involved in purchase and sales agreement for a number of years, and there's always that condition whereby certain percentage are paid at a given time. The buyer can't back out, because if the buyer backs out, then the purchaser can take that buyer to court. And there are significant, what should I say? There are consequences to such breach. So if the buyer decide I'm not selling anymore, well, they have to fork back over that money. You don't walk away with people's money that way. The buyer would have that charge against you. If the buyer decide, well, I'm not buying again, well, of course you walk away with whatever you have gotten, and then you can take the buyer to court too. So these things are binding. So when you hear people say that they haven't gotten their monies, and if, for example, you can prove that I collected millions of dollars, well, you may not have collected as yet, but you're going to collect eventually. And there are some persons who have collected significant amount of money thus far. You know what, I think one of these days it will be good to get the schedule of those persons who are making noise out there after they've sold their lands, after they've collected their monies, after they've gone on the airwaves and tell poor people who got land and want to sell their land to make their money, to go and do something substantial with their money. Now you're gone out now to tell them, don't sell your land, hold on to your land, when you already collected your money and have already started using those resources to better your life. You're trying to say to poor people who want to sell their land and then take that money to go and build apartment complex, because we know that Nevis is on the rise and people are coming. And let me say to our people out there, listen, all of this talk about people coming here and foreigners coming here and who coming, Nevis is like a hot spot right now, you know. What are we going to do? In most cases, we cannot stop people from coming. A lot of these people who are coming, they are CARICOM nationals, OECS nationals, they are even foreigners, people who we call foreigners who have our passport in their hand. So they ain't no foreigner. They're citizens who are coming. They're coming to seek out opportunities. They're coming to invest. And so we better find a way to capitalize on them. How can we capitalize on those who are coming? One, some of them coming with no house on the island of Nevis. So if you start to build apartment complexes, then you know you have revenue, that a revenue stream that you can have coming from those apartment complexes. And not saying complex. You can build a complex. If you can build 2, you can build 3. The government is offering all kind of incentives for you to build 10-room apartment, whatever it is. Go down to the Ministry of Finance. So start thinking about how you can capitalize on the wave that we are going to be on, because there's no if, no but, or maybe, that signs are there and the foundation is being laid to move this island forward. We have been on a certain trajectory for a long time. People have been saying we haven't had a major investment for some time. Well, here's a major investment coming. Is it good? You be the judge of that. Is it bad? You'll have your point to make about that. But by and large, I'm telling you that once we have this particular investment up and running, it would mean jobs would be available, revenue stream would be there for many divisions, life and life circumstances will change for many persons. People who come here, they will come to contribute and help us develop this island, just like all people would have left here and gone to the Virgin Islands, gone to St. Martin, gone to the United States, and gone all over the world to help build those countries. People are going to come and help us build this island. But our people must understand that we, as nationals, or as they say on the other side, natural born citizens, we have to put ourselves in a position to take advantage of what is to come. Do not let anybody foot trick you. Don't let nobody fool you. Use your brain and figure out how you can capitalize. So yes, as I was saying, that town hall meeting will be held on Monday evening, and I believe it's about 7 o'clock. But anyway, listen up to Von Radio. I've heard the advertisement here on Von Radio where the premier is inviting persons down to that meeting. I'm going to be there, God's willing, because every one of them, I want to go to every one of them, because there's something different that might come up in each, yeah, that I might miss if I don't go. So I'm saying to come on down and enjoy. So I was just talking about perhaps an increase in the population of Nevis. We've been hearing this talk all the time, that Nevis needs additional people here on the island. And when I mean additional people, I mean persons who are able-bodied, who are coming here not to be on our social services system, but persons who are going to come and contribute, come and find employment, work, and you know, contribute to social security. They'll rent their apartment, they'll buy a car, they'll support our supermarkets or shops and bars. And we hear all the time that our mom and pop stores or shops are struggling. It's struggling because these mom and pop stores are going to see Alexis Jeffers once a week. I can't go every night. Or Rams will see me once a month, because if I go and do a large shopping at Rams or Best Buy or whomever, I can't go every day. But if you have multiple people who are coming to the island with their families, every day Rams and those other institutions will see multiple people coming into their doors. Not me, because like I said, I'm going once per month. Yeah, but if persons are coming here with their family, working and making money, every minute they go to the supermarket to make sure they're provided for their family. Well, how do you expect these businesses to grow and thrive and expand? Because an expansion of any of these businesses, I just mentioned Rams, or many other businesses on the island, whether restaurants down on the beach or whatever, yeah? If they expand, it means they need additional employees. If they expand, they'll be ordering more. If they expand and order more, it means that our customs will see more importation of goods from overseas, because many of the things that they sell, many are not produced here. And then, of course, there is an opportunity that is created for industries to start right here, producing certain things as well. But if these business expanded, therefore means that our hardware stores, all of the contractors who are here on the island, subcontractors, everybody make money. That is how the economics of the island can change for the better. When people start coming and people start contributing and people start to demand services, consume products, that is how you have to look at it. We start to say, oh, we don't want nobody. Well, who's going to supply, who's going to buy at these stores if we don't want people here? We need people. 10,000, 15,000. They're not going to come all at once. Over time, that's what you want to happen. And when they come, they contribute towards the economic advancement of the island. Are they going to bring some negatives with them? Of course, yes, but we have laws. We have rules. And the police will do their work. The authorities will do what they have to do. And if you cannot abide by what we have to offer here and the rules that we have in place, then of course there are the authorities and the agencies that will act accordingly. So I'm encouraging you to come. But come and be on your best behavior and understand that all of us who are born and raised here, we have worked hard to build this island. So when you come and you meet a nice tranquil island, it didn't happen overnight. It happened because we pulled up our boots and we did what we had to do and work hard, try and stay out of bad company and do all we can to build this island so that when you come, you can be in an ideal situation to raise your family. Send them to school here. Our schools and our school system is one of the best here in the region. And so we have done a good job thus far, and if you're going to come, we want you to come and help us to build further. And that's the message that I have to give. But yes, we need people, and all of the arguments out there against immigration and additional persons coming to the island, I think we should sit down and assess it more. Let me just touch on Social Security, because Social Security will be happy as a result. You know, there's some contributions that are taken out of my salary every month. it is a set amount. Just tell yourself, if you have 10,000 persons coming here over time and working, you multiply whatever they are contributing to Social Security, and that is going into the pool. So the more the merrier. And Social Security, you also need to encourage, go out on the road and bring the message to the general public as well as to the advantage and advantages of having additional addition to the workforce here on the island of Nevis. We hear Social Security will go broke in the next whatever amount of years. I don't know about that, but that is the assessment I've heard. So in saying that, we have to look for options, and we'll have to look for ways and means to bolster Social Security. I just mentioned that, but I've touched on many other things that we will see some improvement, some advancement, and some advantages that we can certainly take, certain other things that we can take advantage of. Yeah. So I believe these town hall meetings that are being held, they will certainly answer some questions and put some of the doubts to rest. And those out there who have been creating and causing mischief, I suppose they too can come and get the true story and the real story regarding this particular development. And then you too can now perhaps change your narrative out there to ensure that, you know, we're not mama guying people, and we're not encouraging people to go and demonstrate. Demonstrate over what? A simple question and answer. Make your presence felt. You don't have to come nowhere. Go nowhere in Nevis to demonstrate over what? The last demonstration that was held in Nevis was when we had this removal of over 200 persons' name from the voters list. That is something that you can demonstrate all up and down Nevis about. And we had a huge demonstration down in Charleston, more than once, more than twice. I'm talking about thousands of persons. When you trample on people's democracy as the NRP would have done, you bring out that kind of emotion out of people. And that is why persons went down in Charleston and demonstrated. And they went further and demonstrated at the polls to say no more of NRP, go where you're going. Yeah? They went and they vote out NRP and say, be gone. Because you don't do that to people. So NRP is encouraging people to go and demonstrate and to have demonstration at these town hall meetings. Listen, people, be wise. Don't let nobody in Timbuktu tell you go demonstrate and they can't come to demonstrate. If they tell you to go and demonstrate, tell them come and join you. And all of you show up. Yeah? Because I know they won't buy one ticket to come nowhere. But they're going to stay where they are until you go and demonstrate. I say to come demonstrate your interest in the project by coming to their convention, not convention, to their consultation. I'm mixing up convention and consultation now. So come and demonstrate your interest and demonstrate that your true vision want to get answers to the questions you have to raise. I'm going to go into the wrap-up phase because, of course, the convention which I spoke about, our convention, the Concerned Citizens Movement, will have its convention on Sunday. Did I speak about it? Maybe I did. Anyway, I can spend the next couple of minutes just to invite the whole of Nevis to a party convention on Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. down there at NIPAC. We have the business session that starts at 1 or 2 p.m. I believe, 2 p.m. yes, and then we go right into the convention. I'm inviting the whole of the St. James constituency to come and support the Concerned Citizens Movement and myself at this convention. We'll have some awards for stalwarts of the party, some who are alive and some who would have gone to the great beyond. We will award them posthumously. And then, of course, we'll have different speeches that will be made. And indeed, the theme, I had the theme here somewhere. Where is it now? I had the theme here somewhere. Yes, proven leadership, secure. Proven leadership, secure future. Proven leadership, full stop, secure future. That is what this development is all about. That is what this party is about. And that is what the leadership of the Honorable Mark Brantley is all about. Yes? Proven leadership. And so we're going down there to support the Honorable Mark Brantley and the Concerned Citizens Movement on Sunday. Come on out in your blue. come on out in whatever color, but if you have blue, put on your blue, and then there'll be some refreshment afterwards. So it should be a grand event down there at the NIPAC, 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. I'm inviting the whole of Nevis. Listen, if you support the NRP, come to, because we got things to be said down there that you want to hear. Come, all of you. If you support whatever party in St. Kitts, come over. But I believe the event will be streamed live, and that link will be sent out accordingly when we get to Sunday. So come with us and celebrate. I believe I hear some music in my ear now. It's about time to wrap up, yeah? And indeed, it was my pleasure being here. 2 o'clock on the dot, and I don't have any money to pay for overtime. So I'm going to pack up now and go and do something else. So I want to say to my listeners, thank you for listening this afternoon. And of course, join me again next Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And as I always say, if you go to church on a Saturday, go and serve your God. If you go on a Sunday, go and do likewise. And while I'm at that, let me say hello to my good friend there, Violet Baby Perkins over there in Barnaby. Good afternoon to you, Mrs. Perkins. I should have mentioned that from the get-go, but at least I did get it in anyway. So have a wonderful weekend, folks. Be safe. And don't forget that convention on Sunday afternoon. Come out and show your face and give us your support. We appreciate it always. Thank you. May God continue to bless this station and bless the entire Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Have a wonderful and safe weekend. Goodbye.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.